Hey everyone, welcome to the video. We've got a real different one for you today. We're going to be reacting to ChatGPT stories. I've prompted some titles for stories with my friends from the Library of Legends Discord. You've got Jimbo Slice, Codex the Wizard, Slazius, and the Mighty Kiwis. We're going to be reacting to each story as we go, and yeah, it's just something different I wanted to try, and I kind of prompted each story with something that they like from either being games, movies, shows, whatever. But yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Their links for their socials and their channels will be in the description down below. Be sure to go give them a follow. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the videos. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe and leave a comment down below as well. I like to hear what you all think. So let's dive right on into the first one.
Title: Jimbo Slice, the Guardian of Our Destiny. In the shadow of the cosmic realms, where the fates of all living beings intertwine, there exists a being known as Jimbo Slice, the guardian of our destiny. He is a figure of myth and legend, an ancient warrior whose duty is to safeguard the balance of the universe and guide those who would otherwise stray from their true path. Clad in celestial armor and wielding the mighty blade of fate, Jimbo Slice stands between chaos and order, ensuring that every soul finds its rightful place in the grand tapestry of existence. But Jimbo Slice is no ordinary guardian. Beneath his imposing, legendary stature lies a deep, unshakable sense of humor, a love for the simple things in life, and a heart that beats for the destiny of all. The chosen guardian. Long before the stars were born, before the planets spun in their cosmic orbits, there was the Great Council of Eternal Balance, beings who watched over all that was and ever would be. They knew that the universe needed a guardian, someone strong enough to protect the balance of destiny, yet wise enough to know when to let it unfold on its own. Among the candidates for this monumental task stood Jimbo, a warrior unlike any other. He was known across galaxies for his strength, having defeated the invincible Titan of Chronothos, and his clever mind having outwitted the time-bending trickster gods of the Nexium Nebula. But what truly set Jimbo apart was his understanding of fate, his ability to see the threads of destiny not as rigid lines, but as a web of infinite possibilities.
I'm Jimbo.
Impressed by his insight and unwavering dedication, the Council bestowed upon him the title of Jimbo Slice, Guardian of Our Destiny. They gave him the Blade of Fate, a weapon forged from the very essence of time and possibility, capable of cutting through the veils of past, present, and future. With it, Jimbo could see the true paths that lay ahead for all beings, and when necessary, he could defend them. The Blade of Fate. The Blade of Fate was no ordinary sword. It was said to be connected to the Fountain of Time, a mystical force that flowed through the fabric of the universe. With every swing, the blade could not only cleave through matter, but also alter the flow of destiny itself. Jimbo Slice never used the blade lightly, for he knew that every cut could ripple across the cosmos, changing lives in ways no one could predict. There were times when the blade was a tool of protection, when Jimbo would stand between the universe and forces that sought to unravel the future. And then there were times when he simply watched, guiding those whose destinies were uncertain, but ultimately letting them make their own choices. The true power of the Blade of Fate wasn't in its sharpness or strength, but in its ability to show Jimbo the infinite branching paths of life. He could see how each decision led to 1,000 others, how one choice could spiral into great triumph or immense sorrow. His task was not to decide the fate of others, but to protect the path they were meant to walk. The Unseen Guide. Though Jimbo Slice held immense power, he was not a figure who sought out praise or recognition. Most of the time, he worked from the shadows, guiding those who needed it without them ever knowing. His watchful eyes were always on the lookout for pivotal moments, points in time where the universe hung in the balance and where the actions of a single individual could tip the scales. One of his greatest successes came during the War of the Convergence, when the timelines of multiple dimensions threatened to collapse upon themselves. Jimbo, sensing that the convergence was caused by a single, seemingly insignificant decision in the distant past, leaped through time to set things right. With a subtle nudge, a single conversation at the right moment, he averted catastrophe and saved countless realities from being erased from existence. In another instance, Jimbo helped a young boy named Kale on the remote planet of Xylothar. Kale was destined to become a great leader, but at a crucial juncture in his life, he doubted his worth and almost walked away from his future. Jimbo, disguised as a humble fisherman, shared words of wisdom with the boy, encouraging him to embrace his potential. That small act of kindness ensured that Kale would go on to unite his people and bring peace to a war-torn world. The unexpected hero. For all his wisdom and strength, Jimbo Slice was far from a stoic, distant guardian. He had a love for life that belied his responsibilities. When he wasn't leaping across dimensions or battling ancient forces of chaos, Jimbo could often be found mingling with the people of the universe. He enjoyed a good brawl, a hearty meal, and especially a good laugh. Legends spoke of the time Jimbo Slice participated in the intergalactic gladiator games, not as a spectator, but as a competitor. Disguised as a simple fighter, Jimbo entered the arena not to win, but to inspire. His victory wasn't over his fellow gladiators, but over a corrupt system that had enslaved many of the competitors. By the end of the games, he had freed the fighters and brought down the oppressive rulers who profited from their pain, all without anyone realizing that he was the legendary guardian of destiny. It was also said that Jimbo had a soft spot for underdogs. Whenever he saw someone struggling against impossible odds, be it a lost space traveler, a forgotten hero, or even a lonely drifter, he would step in, not to solve their problems, but to give them the push they needed to find their own strength. The final stand. Despite his carefree nature, there were moments when Jimbo Slice had to face unimaginable darkness. The greatest of these came during the era of the Void, when a malevolent force known as the Oblivion Serpent threatened to consume all of creation. The serpent sought to unravel the very fabric of destiny, devouring every possibility, every future, until nothing remained but emptiness. Jimbo knew this was a fight he could not win alone. Gathering the champions of countless worlds, from space knights to sorcerers, he led them into the heart of the void. The battle raged across dimensions, with entire realities hanging by a thread. Jimbo fought with everything he had, the blade of fate glowing with the power of 1,000 possible futures. In the end, it was not strength that won the day, but Jimbo's deep understanding of destiny. He realized that the serpent could only be defeated by embracing the uncertainty of the future. With a final, decisive strike, Jimbo didn't destroy the serpent. He severed its connection to the universe, casting it into a place where it could no longer influence the flow of time. The Guardian continues. To this day, Jimbo Slice continues his role as the guardian of our destiny. He remains unseen by most, watching over the critical moments that shape the universe. Sometimes he steps in, sometimes he watches, but always he ensures that destiny is protected. When the stars align and the future seems uncertain, you may just catch a glimpse of him, a towering figure, clad in celestial armor, his blade of fate gleaming as he cuts through the veils of time, ensuring that our destinies remain in balance. For in the grand scheme of the cosmos, there is no greater protector than Jimbo Slice, the guardian of our destiny.
Wow, that was actually really good. I enjoyed that so much more than I expected. The Oblivion Serpent sounded like such a badass antagonist to have for Jimbo, and I think that worked out really well, better than I ever thought it would. So, yeah, nice. Jimbo Slice, guardian of our destiny. That is our first little short story there. So the next one I am going to do is going to be Slazius. I will get Slazius up right now and we will listen to that.
Title: Slazius, the Greatest Space Bounty Hunter. In the vast, lawless expanse of the galaxy, where criminal syndicates ruled entire star systems and no planet was truly safe, there was one name that struck fear into the hearts of fugitives and criminals alike: Slazius. Known as the greatest space bounty hunter to ever live, Slazius was a legend, a shadow in the void, relentless and unstoppable in his pursuit of justice, or the highest bidder. Origins of a hunter. Slazius wasn't born into glory. He came from the war-torn desert planet of Droxa, a barren world where survival was a constant struggle. The week didn't last long on Droxa, and Slasius had learned from an early age to fend for himself. Orphaned at a young age, he was taken in by an old and disgraced bounty hunter named Garak. Under Garak's harsh but effective training, Slasius learned the skills that would one day make him the galaxy's most feared hunter: tracking, combat, survival, and most importantly, how to remain unseen. Slasius had one rule: always complete the mission. It didn't matter how dangerous the target or how remote the location. Once he took on a bounty, he never failed. What set him apart from other hunters was his precision and calculated efficiency. He didn't waste time with grand battles or unnecessary violence. His targets rarely saw him coming, and by the time they realized they were being hunted, it was too late. The gear of a legend. Part of Slasius' success came from his mastery of technology. His signature weapon was the Photon Scythe, a retractable energy blade capable of cutting through the toughest materials in the galaxy. It was a close combat weapon, lethal in the hands of someone with Slasius' skill. He paired this with an array of cutting-edge gadgets: cloaking devices, plasma nets, EMP bombs, and a pair of gauntlets equipped with grappling hooks and energy projectiles. His ship, the Nightshade, was a sleek, fast stealth cruiser outfitted with advanced cloaking technology, allowing him to slip past even the most secure planetary defenses. The Nightshade was more than just a vessel. It was an extension of Slasius himself. With it, he could track ships across galaxies, perform daring extractions, or vanish into the darkness of space in the blink of an eye. The bounties that made him a legend. Slasius' reputation spread like wildfire after his first major bounty, Zarin the Devourer, a notorious space pirate whose reign of terror had paralyzed entire trade routes. Zarin had built a fleet of heavily armed ships and fortified himself on the lawless world of Sarkhan, deep within the uncharted zone. Other bounty hunters had tried to bring Zarin in, and either failed or died trying. Slasius didn't rush in guns blazing. Instead, he infiltrated Sarkhan undetected, sabotaging Zarin's fleet from within, turning his own men against him by hacking their communications. By the time Zarin realized what was happening, Slasius had already cornered him. There was no flashy fight, no heroic battle. Slasius simply walked away, dragging Zarin in chains, collecting one of the largest bounties in galactic history. From that moment on, the galaxy knew his name. Next came Valoria the Siren, a master of deception and disguise who had eluded capture for years. She could change her appearance, her voice, even her DNA signature. No one knew what she truly looked like, and she had infiltrated the highest levels of galactic governments, selling secrets to the highest bidder. Slasius, however, didn't rely on appearances. He hunted her by studying patterns, piecing together the smallest details until he finally found her hiding on the pleasure planet of Elysium Prime. In the end, Valoria never saw him coming. One moment she was enjoying a lavish party, the next she was bound and unconscious, ready for delivery. But it was Kornath the Unkillable that truly solidified Slasius' place in history. Kornath was a warlord from the gladiatorial planet of Drexus 7, a massive brute whose body had been enhanced with cybernetics and alien technology, making him nearly invincible. His reputation was built on never losing a fight, having killed countless hunters who had tried to claim the massive bounty on his head. Slasius accepted the challenge. Instead of facing Kornath head-on, Slasius took a different approach. He tracked Kornath's shipments of weapons and technology, sabotaging them over the course of several weeks. By the time Slasius confronted the warlord in the arena, Kornath's cybernetic enhancements were malfunctioning, his systems compromised. The battle was swift and decisive. With a single strike from his photon scythe, Slasius ended Kornath's reign, leaving the audience in stunned silence. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. The hunter becomes the hunted. As Slasius' fame grew, so did the enemies he made. Powerful crime syndicates, corrupt corporations, and warlords began to fear him, and for good reason. But rather than run from the threat, they decided to eliminate it. A bounty was placed on Slasius himself, one so large that every hunter, assassin, and mercenary in the galaxy came after him. But Slasius wasn't worried. He had anticipated this moment. For months, bounty hunters tracked him, only to disappear without a trace. Ships that tried to follow the Nightshade were found abandoned, their crews missing. the galaxy's deadliest assassins met their end before they even got close. It was as if Slasius had become the ghost of space, always one step ahead of his pursuers, watching from the shadows. The final showdown. The culmination of Slasius' career came when he received a contract unlike any other. Xylar the Annihilator, a being from the mysterious edge of the galaxy who had amassed an army of genetically enhanced soldiers and threatened to plunge the galaxy into chaos. Xylar had grown too powerful for any government to handle, and his forces were marching across the stars. Slasius was the last hope. The hunt for Xylar took him to the most dangerous regions of space, through asteroid fields, black holes, and war-torn planets. Xylar's fortress, located on the barren planet Nernoth, was impenetrable, guarded by legions of enhanced soldiers. But Slasius had never failed a mission. Using every trick he had learned over the years, Slasius infiltrated the fortress, taking out Xylar's soldiers one by one. In a climactic final battle, he faced Xylar himself, a being of immense power and near invincibility. The fight tested Slasius to his limits, but in the end, his skill and cunning prevailed. He used Xylar's own technology against him, disabling his enhancements and striking him down with the photon scythe. With Xylar's defeat, the galaxy was saved from certain destruction, and Slasius' name was immortalized in the stars. A legend among the stars. After the fall of Xylar, Slasius disappeared from the public eye. Some say he retired, his legend complete, while others believe he still hunts in the darkest corners of the galaxy, chasing the shadows of the most dangerous criminals. Wherever he is, one thing is certain: Slasius, the greatest space bounty hunter, remains a force to be reckoned with, feared by the guilty and hailed as a hero by the oppressed. His story would be told in every corner of the galaxy for generations to come, a legend of precision, skill, and a relentless hunt that never failed.
Okay, again, that was awesome. Like, I really enjoyed that story. Like, just how much of a badass Slasius was in that story, and just being this, like, really amazing bounty hunter. And plus, the photon scythe just, yeah, I thought that was excellent. I love that kind of, like, weapon that he's got, you know? Just made it complete. I feel like he was kind of like a combination of the Mandalorian with an N7 suit. You know, it just kind of felt like that. I really liked that. That was awesome. So the next one we're going to play here is going to be for Codex. Codex, the all-powerful wizard.
Title: Codex, the all-powerful wizard. In a universe of infinite realms and countless dimensions, there are forces that defy time, space, and even reality itself. Among these forces, none were more feared or more mysterious than the power wielded by Codex, the all-powerful wizard. His name was whispered in legends across worlds, from the darkest corners of the multiverse to the grandest empires of mortal men. For Codex was no ordinary sorcerer. He was a master of the arcane nexus, a being whose magic transcended the boundaries of existence. Origins of power. Codex's origins were shrouded in myth and mystery. Some said he was born at the dawn of time, when the universe was nothing but swirling chaos. Others believed he was a mortal who had unlocked the secrets of the gods themselves. But the truth was far stranger. Codex was born in a distant world known as Elisoria, a realm where magic flowed like rivers, and the very fabric of reality was pliable to those who could harness it. As a child, Codex showed an innate affinity for magic, bending the elements to his will without formal training. While others spent years studying the most basic of spells, Codex mastered them with ease. His power grew so quickly that the elders of his village feared him, calling him an anomaly, a breach in the natural order. When he was just a boy, an ancient prophecy foretold that a child of the arcane would rise to either save or destroy the realms. Believing Codex to be this child, the elders sent him away to the Eternal Tower, a place where the most powerful wizards trained and meditated on the secrets of the multiverse. The Eternal Tower and the Arcane Nexus. At the tower, Codex quickly outpaced the most experienced wizards. He devoured knowledge, learning spells that others considered too dangerous to wield. But it was within the deepest chamber of the tower that Codex found the true source of his destiny, the Arcane Nexus. The Arcane Nexus was a source of limitless magical power, a wellspring of energy that existed at the intersection of all realities. It had existed since before time began, and it was said that only 1 in a million wizards could even glimpse its existence, let alone access its power. Codex not only glimpsed it, he mastered it. When Codex connected with the Nexus, he became something more than mortal. The raw energy of creation flowed through him, and with it came knowledge beyond comprehension. He saw the threads of fate, the weavings of time, and the limitless potential of magic. He became capable of manipulating reality itself, altering the past, bending the present, and glimpsing into the future. But with this power came great responsibility, for the arcane nexus was not something that could be controlled by will alone. It was alive, sentient, and dangerous. Those who attempted to wield it without understanding were consumed by its infinite energy. But Codex, with his insatiable thirst for knowledge and power, forged a bond with the Nexus unlike any before him. The rise of Codex. With the power of the Nexus flowing through him, Codex transcended the limitations of ordinary wizards. He became a master of all schools of magic: elemental, necromancy, illusion, and even the forbidden arts of time manipulation and soul binding. His spells could raise mountains, summon storms that spanned worlds, or shatter armies with a thought. He could bend the laws of physics, defy gravity, and travel across dimensions at will. But it wasn't just his raw power that made him feared. It was his knowledge. Codex knew the hidden truths of the universe, secrets that even the gods had forgotten. He understood the delicate balance between creation and destruction, and knew how to manipulate it to his advantage. The mortal realms began to take notice. Kings, emperors, and entire civilizations sought his counsel, hoping to gain favor with the most powerful being in existence. But Codex was not easily swayed. He cared little for politics or mortal affairs. His mind was focused on the grander picture, the cosmic balance of magic and reality itself. The wars of the arcane. As his power grew, so too did the jealousy and fear of other wizards. The Council of Elders, the ruling body of magic across the realms, began to see Codex as a threat. They feared that no one being should have such power, especially one so young and untested. A great arcane war erupted, with the Council sending their most powerful archmages to bring Codex down. But they underestimated him. Using his mastery of the Nexus, Codex created ethereal constructs, magical beings that existed outside of time and space, capable of overwhelming even the greatest wizards. He summoned legions of these constructs, defending himself against wave after wave of attackers, each falling before his might. But Codex did not revel in violence. He saw the destruction the war was causing, not just in his world, but across the fabric of the multiverse. Magic itself was being torn apart by the conflict, and the balance he so fiercely guarded was in danger. So, in an act that shocked both his allies and enemies, Codex ended the war with a single spell. He invoked the full power of the Arcane Nexus and created the Oblivion Ward, a spell so powerful that it erased the entire battlefield from existence. Those who fought him simply ceased to be, as though they had never existed at all. The war was over in an instant, and Codex stood as the undisputed master of magic. The Eternal Wanderer. After the Arcane War, Codex withdrew from the mortal realms. He had seen the dangers of unchecked power and had no desire to rule over others. Instead, he became an eternal wanderer, traveling across dimensions, seeking out knowledge, and preserving the balance between chaos and order. He explored the most dangerous realms, from the abyss of shadows, where nightmares became real, to the radiant plane of eternal light, where time had no meaning. In his travels, Codex encountered ancient beings, gods, demons, and creatures from beyond the stars, many of whom sought to challenge him, but none could defeat him. But while Codex's power was limitless, his greatest strength was his wisdom. He understood the temptation of the Nexus, the seductive allure of absolute control, but he never let it consume him. He remained humble in his knowledge, always learning, always growing. The legacy of Codex. Centuries passed, and the name Codex became legend. To some, he was a hero, a protector of the realms who had saved reality from destruction more times than they could count. To others, he was a myth, a story told to frighten young wizards about the dangers of seeking too much power. But to those who knew the truth, Codex was something far more. a being of pure magic, the living embodiment of the arcane nexus, a guardian of the balance between creation and destruction. And though he had long since vanished from the mortal realms, whispers of his presence remained. It was said that in the darkest times, when reality itself was on the brink of collapse, Codex would return, not as a conqueror, but as a savior, wielding the limitless power of the arcane nexus to restore balance once more. For in the end, Codex, the all-powerful wizard, was not defined by his power, but by his purpose, the eternal protector of the multiverse.
Okay, that was really cool. I like that. Like how much power he had, and how much like grand scheme of things it was, like with the elders and the elders of the council. It was just like, yeah, we can't have him have all this power, and it just turned into kind of like, you know, we need to stop him, but he's not the real baddie, and he's not even the baddie. He savior. That was good. I like that how they that was awesome. So the next one on the list here is going to be the Mighty Kiwis.
Title: The Rise of the Mighty Kiwis, Monster Hunter Supreme. In a land teeming with dangerous beasts, where monstrous creatures roamed freely, humanity lived in constant fear. Villages were raised by dragons, forests became hunting grounds for giant, fanged predators, and the seas were ruled by titanic sea serpents. Monster hunters, brave individuals trained in the art of combat and survival, were humanity's only defense. Among these hunters, none were more feared or more revered than the mighty Kiwis. But Kiwis' journey to become the world's greatest monster hunter didn't start with glory. It began in a small, remote village nestled deep within the wilderness. Humble beginnings. Kiwis had always been different. Growing up in the isolated village, she was fascinated by the creatures that haunted the forests and mountains. While others cowered in fear, she sought knowledge, studying every bit of lore about monsters that she could find. She spent countless hours tracking them from afar, observing their behaviors, understanding their patterns. Her village elders warned her to stay away, to let the trained hunters deal with the beasts, but Kiwis was determined to become something greater. One fateful night, a colossal wyvern attacked her village, reducing homes to rubble and leaving devastation in its wake. The hunters fought valiantly, but they were outmatched by the ferocity of the beast. With no one left to protect her home, Kiwis did the unthinkable. Armed with nothing but a worn spear and a heart full of courage, she faced the wyvern head-on. Through quick thinking and pure instinct, she dodged its lethal strikes, using the environment to outsmart the beast. Climbing to a high ridge, she leaped onto the wyvern's back, driving her spear into a vulnerable spot just beneath its scales. The creature roared in agony, thrashing wildly, but Kiwis held firm. With one final strike, the mighty wyvern collapsed. Kiwis had saved her village, but this was only the beginning of her legend. Mastering the hunt. After defeating the wyvern, Kiwis knew that her path lay far beyond the borders of her village. She left home, embarking on a journey across the world, seeking out the most dangerous creatures known to man. Along the way, she encountered master hunters who taught her the art of tracking, trapping, and combat. She learned to wield all manner of weapons, from dual blades that danced like lightning in her hands to massive greatswords that could split a monster's hide in one swing. But Kiwis wasn't content with mere strength. She developed a deep bond with the creatures she hunted, understanding that they weren't just mindless beasts, but part of a delicate ecosystem. She became not only a hunter, but a protector of the natural world, hunting only when necessary and always striving to maintain balance between humans and monsters. Her intelligence and tactical mind set her apart from other hunters. While many relied on brute force, Kiwis used her keen understanding of monsters' behaviors to exploit their weaknesses. She would often lure a beast into a carefully laid trap, using the terrain and her surroundings to her advantage. No matter how fierce or cunning the creature, the mighty Kiwis always found a way to outsmart it. The Great Hunt. The turning point in Kiwis' career came when word spread of a legendary creature that no hunter had ever been able to defeat, Zarvok, an ancient dragon said to be the size of a mountain and covered in armor stronger than steel. It had been terrorizing the kingdoms, destroying entire cities with its fiery breath. Every monster hunter who faced it had perished, and many believed it to be an immortal force of nature. But Kiwis wasn't deterred. Armed with years of experience and unparalleled knowledge, she set out on what would become the greatest hunt in history. The journey to find Zarvok took her through treacherous terrains, volcanic wastelands, frozen tundras, and dark, haunted forests. Along the way, she faced countless other creatures, each battle preparing her for the final showdown. She honed her skills, crafting new weapons from the bones and scales of fallen beasts, and devised a strategy unlike any the world had seen. When she finally stood before Zarvok, the dragon was even more terrifying than the legends had described. Its roar shook the earth, and its wings blotted out the sun. But Kiwis was ready. She had studied every ancient text, every scrap of knowledge about dragons, and knew this was her ultimate test. The battle raged for days. Kiwis darted through the battlefield with agility unmatched, using every weapon in her arsenal. She blinded Zarvok with flash bombs, weakened its armored scales with explosive arrows, and used her knowledge of its anatomy to target its weak spots. But the dragon was relentless, unleashing torrents of fire and destruction. In a final, daring move, Kiwi scaled a towering cliff and leaped onto Zarvok's back, much like she had done with the wyvern all those years ago. With a mighty swing of her dragonbone sword, she pierced the dragon's heart, delivering the fatal blow. Zarvok let out a deafening roar, collapsing in defeat. Kiwis had done the impossible. She had defeated the greatest monster in history. A new era. After her victory over Zarvok, Kiwis was hailed as the greatest monster hunter the world had ever seen. But instead of resting on her laurels, she dedicated herself to teaching a new generation of hunters, passing on her knowledge and wisdom. She believed that hunting was not just about slaying monsters, but about respecting nature and maintaining balance. The mighty Kiwis became a legend, not because of her strength, but because of her intelligence, compassion, and relentless determination. She showed the world that the greatest hunters aren't just those who wield the sharpest blades, but those who understand the creatures they hunt and the world they protect. And so her name became immortal, a symbol of courage, wisdom, and the eternal fight to keep the world in balance.
That was really good. I really enjoyed that. The whole callback to her first kill with the wyvern and having the dragon at the end go through the same fate and die almost the same way. I loved that. Like, it was such a nice little, like, what's the word for it? Full circle in there. But yeah, that was awesome. That was fantastic. Again, just great stuff. So that's all for this video, guys. Thank you again for watching, and don't forget to leave a like and a comment down below and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you all in the next one. So until then, cheery, bye bye.